Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at a Ginger or Bust deck. This is not your traditional Ginger deck by any means, and it is only a single Ginger deck runner, so it does only run the one, but you are prioritizing draw power with the Staircase in this kind of variant, because that will pretty much guarantee a Ginger draw with how many spells you're running. I mean, you're going to be pulling, what, three random followers, and with the amount of cards running here, you're pretty much guaranteed to pull at least Ginger from these. I do have the Israfil, Zeus and Unbodied, although dropping either the Unbodied or the Israfils would open up that guarantee on Whirlwind Ginger, of course. But considering you are running multiple Zeus and Israfil, it can't always be an absolute guarantee, but it's very, very close, especially with the amount of draw power this deck has. So we'll get right into it and take a look. So my first game is against Haven. Haven's normally an interesting one, especially in rotation.
Time to shine, Daria. Moonlight drives me mad!
I mean, most of the time you're going to be coming up against Summit, which is an absolute pain to deal with, but with a deck like Ginger, it's a very interesting one, just because you can easily play out all of your Zeus and block out any kind of Summit Temple play, which is great. It's just a matter of hitting everything in the right timing before the opponent does. So we do start off very well with our draw. Getting the draws are always important and allow us to spell boost our Enchanted Sword, which I found is actually an okay card in this deck, although I haven't played quite enough of the deck to really see its full benefit. It's definitely good, but unless you can Suicide Ginger, it's really hard to take advantage of it on the curve. It's really more so for after or for trading up, at least from the matches I've used it in. So Consecration gets us a nice little draw. Moon and Sun is great, I love using that card. Really makes a difference. Plus it gives you an early game trade, which is nice. So we get our Unbodied Witch, which is pretty good. It's definitely not the worst possible option, and I do decide to throw the Staircase. Getting that out early enough. Moria Acronamium. That's such a pain in the ass card to pronounce, but who knows. They do go for a pretty large amount of cards here. Using their proc pretty well as well, so that's good. So now we really want to be able to trade with as much of this as we can. I do normally prioritize healing when I'm playing this deck, although attack can definitely open up some possibilities for victory too.
You ready for the good stuff?
So Amaterasu plus the Enchanted Sword guarantees me the trade on the Gemstone Carapace, and the 3-1 really isn't any issue, and if they decide to go face, Magic Missile is an instant clear on it, so it's not bad either way. We're either going to get the double heal or we're going to get the free damage, so either one's good. Fortunately, that is probably the worst thing we could have seen. Priest of the Cudgel coming down on 5 with an Evolve, clearing out the 6-3. Really disappointed in that. Summit Temple, pretty standard. Expect to see that in this deck. So now it's just survive. If we can survive a couple of turns, we're right, and with Wind Blast, we should be able to do that pretty easily. So there's no point playing my Conjure Golem here. My Staircase isn't close enough that it has the value I want, so playing nothing was probably the best option I had. Of course, they get another one, so they're really setting these up. Nova Flare actually isn't a bad card in this situation. There isn't many 2 health cards that you want to be clearing against Haven, so being up to 2 for 1 with Nova is actually not too bad either. But it does depend on our draws, so you never know what you might get. We already have a double Zeus and an Unbodied. All we really need now is something that we can use with them. So Heavenly Knight gets the play. It is going to be 7 to my face. That's really dangerous. And Ginger. So this Insight's important. Searing Knowledge. A couple of Conjure Golems is going to work. And this time they're going to be close enough that playing both is actually fine, even though we're going to lose one of them. The biggest risk though is that Haven has a second Heavenly Knight to back this one up. If they do have the Heavenly Knight, they win the game. If they don't, we're in with a shot at actually closing this out. Fortunately, I did also have to spend that Evo to survive there, so that's a little bit of a disappointment, but at least it was a chance. So there's Hind, so it does mean they don't have anything they can use yet. So they do get that 2 damage, which kind of hurts. And our staircase draw is perfect. Setting up nicely with the Ginger, having it go off on the same turn with an almost empty hand, with only a few cards, really opened up some plays. So being able to throw all of my Zeus down is absolutely insane, especially when board clears just aren't that powerful at the moment. So these are absolutely crazy. Also the Israfil is pretty good too. Mainly wanted to play Israfil just to have it there. And keeping one Israfil is pretty decent because it means I can at least have a little bit of healing. That's why I didn't play my second Israfil, even though it probably could have opened up lethal for me. So another hide would be pretty dangerous. So they're going to be able to kill 2 things here. Hoping it's not both Zeus, but at the same time I don't really want to lose Israfil, and it looks like it is going to be both Zeus. So all up, we've got 16 damage with the, no, 14 damage, sorry, with the Israfil. I'd really need at least, I don't know what I'd need actually, because I don't really have anything that can do that, so unbodied it is, into the Fiery Embrace. I mean, I can go for the trade, which is actually pretty okay, and get 4 damage to the face. Since unbodied is a ward, it should protect this Israfil fairly well, and it will protect me from anything major, like another Heavenly Knight. Of course, they'd finally find a way to remove that, but that is going to leave up my Unbodied Witch, which is probably one of the worst things you can do after seeing it proc a card. So that's 10 damage there. I don't believe Staff of Whirlwinds can hit face. I'm pretty certain it can't, otherwise I did make a major misplay. Enemy follow, yeah. So at best I could have done 1 more damage than what I just did.
Guess I'm not gonna reach the moon.
But we win anyway. Even though we had heaps of Fiery Embraces to clear off anything they would have played, we did quite well. Our next match is against Blood. Blood's just one of those matches where when you're in combat with it, you really want to be controlling the early game just because of how they play. If you can't control that early game, you will lose out 9 out of 10 times probably. So being able to win in these matchups can be quite a struggle for a slower deck like this one. Of course, if you get good cards like we have here, it's not too bad. We've got 3 things that can kill things, and a good proc to fill our hand, so I'm really quite happy with any of it. Especially with no turn 1 play from Blood, and us going first, it means our staircase can come down without any worry at all. Would have been a little bit more of a worry if we had to avoid something, but in this situation, we're actually pretty well off.
I beg your pardon.
Savage Wolf. I'll settle for Savage hitting me. It's fine. So I would have loved to have played Sun and Moon, but saving it till next turn means I can actually combat with any of my 2 drops quite nicely, so Wind Blast or Golem Assault can both be set up next turn. And another Bahamut, really just playing to this right now. Just trying to get whatever blood cards they can.
This is my home. You are my food.
So we do see another Evo going on to this. Going on a Spider Wimp is pretty exciting. I mean, it gets a really good body, so it's not too shocking that that's what they used it on. But it is an immediate target for Staff of Whirlwinds. Especially now that we have 2 of them, because that does get us a full clear and 1 damage to face. The staircase will be very close to going off. So this old Blood kid, this is where I was a little afraid. I mean, seeing that come down on 5 usually means they're prepping everything they would possibly need. I did make a small mistake with the Conjure Golem. I should have actually played another card first, and then used my Conjure Golem setup, so that I could have at least countered this as best as possible. So I probably should have played Staircase Conjure.
Darkness, color streams.
Because if they had have had a massive fat turn, they could have ended me just there. But I suppose even in the best of cases, it wouldn't have been lethal. It would have been an absolutely crazy hand to pull off a lethal from that board. So we can go for our golems, even though I probably should have just went for Staff. So A little bit of a misplay. Although at the same time, this means they are forced to trade themselves. So, in some ways, this isn't so bad either. Plus, I get to save stuff probably next turn when we're going to have to worry again. Although that's not good. So it did take up most of their turn, which is a little bit of a bonus.
Hey, check this out.
So while they're going to get a full trade across my board now, it's the worst situation for me to be in.
All my wisdom for you.
I mean, Staff of Whirlwinds is going to clear this. We've now got our Ginger set up for next turn. And we're pretty free to play Sun and Moon as well.
What are you doing?
Which, if we can set up a heal, isn't a bad option. And Ginger is actually going to have options to evolve as well, because we do still have that Evolve Orb available. Which means if they play something big enough, it would have been amazing.
Ouch.
So, perfect. Once Zeus hits the board, it's going to be really hard for them to come back. With an Evo as well, Israfil is going to absolutely decimate this board, since we can't trade our Ginger.
Fighting is so sorrowful.
So, we can clear out this 2-drop. I mean, it's going to be pretty easy. Israfil's going to take 0 damage. Old Blood Kings are going to be very close to dead and going to be very hard to survive. Probably should have attacked for 2 damage to the face first though, that would have been the best way to go, so a slight misplay on that part, but overall I think once you set up a 5-10 ward, even Blood's going to have trouble getting over that. And when you have Israfil as backup, it's really hard for them to come back.
Okay, this one's all me.
So Belf's a good trade, although they are going to basically be forcing to trade with Zeus, and that's not going to be good for them. We can, of course, though, set up whatever we want. Being able to throw anything down would have been great, but luckily our opponent just conceded outright, knowing they can't get rid of anything else. So my final thoughts, while this isn't the best Ginger deck, it isn't the most expensive one, which really helps out. I mean, it is running a few legendaries, but it's still not as many as the traditional Ginger deck can run. I mean, normal Ginger decks will run 3 Israfil, 3 Zeus, 3 Ginger, and a few other cards in between, of course, so it's pretty crazy. Does alright. If you guys want to test it out, the link will be in the description below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.